Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kings of Horror.
Every day this month, we're going to be looking at theatrically released horror films based on the works of Stephen King.
And today, we're on to the first anthology film based on the works of Stephen King, George Romero's Creepshow. Stephen King wrote the script for this homage to the colorful, violent, and extremely malevolent EC horror comics of the 1950s, starring recognizable actors like Ed Harris, Leslie Nielsen, Hal Holbrook, and even Stephen King himself in 6 creepy tales about vengeful spirits, killer plants, more vengeful spirits, killer cockroaches, and yes, a Bigfoot in a box. Creepshow is a very, very fun movie. I think it's George Romero's most visually interesting movie. He really captures the dynamic camera angles and broad colors of the old horror comics of the 1950s. As with any horror anthology, there tends to be one odd installment out, either one that's really good or one that's not particularly good. I think Father's Day is the weakest installment. It doesn't go anywhere terribly interesting, and there's already a better supernatural revenge story in the film. But for the most part, Creepshow is one of the better horror anthologies, and I would highly recommend it.
Creepshow is a childhood favorite of mine. I mean, it's one of those rare instances where it's something that I loved growing up, still holds up today. I still get a great thrill out of watching this movie.
See, I had great taste as a kid, so it's very different.
Just wait till we get to Creepshow 2. It's palpable that everybody in front of and behind the camera is having a blast on this. And yeah, you mentioned Father's Day as being the weakest link, but I think that they're creeping up on you, the cockroach episode. While it certainly gives you the heebie-jeebies, it doesn't have enough to really root me in the story and, hold my interest.
I never would have ended with They're Creeping Up on You. I think it's probably the weakest installment from that perspective in terms of a punchline. But the thing is, and the reason why I rate it more highly than Father's Day is the same basic story as Something to Tide You Over, the Leslie Nielsen story. Yeah. But it doesn't have an interesting setup. It's a very boring, dry, fusty setup. And but they're both like supernatural revenge stories. You killed me, I'll kill you. Ah!
Right. I think it's a good starter point. It's a good diving board to kind of introduce the audience into what they're going for. Well, yeah, because it has that very EC comic
and
vibe.
In some ways, it's the most colorfully shot and has a really great, beautiful, the image at the end of Father's Day is beautiful. Yeah. But the thing is, at the very least, They're Creeping Up on You is a different kind of horror. When you're doing an anthology film, you don't want any two installments to be too similar to each other, because otherwise, what's the point? And I feel like Father's Day just feels like an inferior version of Something to Tide You Over, whereas They're Creeping Up on You is at least a different kind of scare. It's cockroaches. No one likes cockroaches, or if you do, I don't understand you. And we didn't talk about The Crate.
The Crate is great.
The Crate is wonderful. The Crate is very, very scary. And we didn't talk about The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill.
Well, The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill is the most unique, I think, more out of this world concept.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that it's a one-man show. And if you're going to put one actor on camera and have him do nothing but act, you want to get Stephen King himself.
Yeah. And he plays to the rafters, man. He's great in this. Yeah. I mean, his performance is so broad. He knows exactly what to do, and that's what I love about it. I think in terms of, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, I think in terms of great performances, I think Something to Tide You Over is amazing. I think Ted Danson, Leslie Nielsen, they are just like, you could feel the heat in the room when they're like, he's got his foot in the door and they're really going at it.
If you've only seen Leslie Nielsen in the Airplane movies or Naked Gun, this is a great one to start with.
Yeah. Adrienne Barbeau. We got to bring up Adrienne Barbeau, man.
Everyone wants to kill Adrienne Barbeau in Creepshow. In Creepshow specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
Creepshow is an incredibly fun movie. I find it a little uneven at times, but ultimately it's beautiful, it's entertaining. I highly recommend it. I give it 3.5 Kings.
Full of energy, exciting, colorful. I absolutely love Creepshow. I definitely don't side with Bibbs in terms of it being uneven. I think it needs to be exactly what it needs to be. I give it 4.5 out of 5 Kings.
4.5 Kings? Have you gone out of your mind?
Why, yes, I have. I would actually sandwich it somewhere between Carrie and The Shining for me. I mean, I think that Creepshow is a stronger piece than Carrie.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I think Carrie has more emotion, but
I think it plays to my taste.
Well, come back tomorrow when Kings of Horror will look at the next film in the Stephen King cinematic cycle, Cujo.
Come here, boy. Come here, Cujo.